Today, Jeremy sits down with the legendary Coach Phil Wickwar. They talk about Coach Wickwar's journey with sports, faith, and family. I got my notebook out for this one. Quite a few things to write down after listening. We hope today is helpful and hopeful.
And welcome to another episode of The Riff. I am Jeremy, and I am thrilled that you're here because today we are talking with really an Ozark legend. We are talking with Phil Wickwar. And Phil, welcome to The Riff.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Happy to be here.
You have a voice. I just believe the good Lord gave you a voice that was designed to be on The Riff.
I was told I have a face for radio, but I'm glad. It
is good. Honestly, it's making me feel a little insecure, but I know that's not Jesus whispering to me, so I'm gonna push on. Okay, so there's a few things I want to get out right at the very beginning. Okay. You are known by a lot of people as teacher.
Yep.
Coach.
Yes.
And we're gonna get into that, but Justin Glenn, who is our co-host when I don't have a guest on the show. Justin, he's a little nervous today. I saw that he wore like a shirt today. He's on his best behavior because you've been instrumental in his life. Is it true that you were his coach?
I was. I had that opportunity.
At Willard High School, you were a football coach.
Yes, I was.
And a strength training, all that?
I was.
Can we talk about Justin's athletic ability? What was it like before you, and then what was it like after you did your best?
Justin's just like he was on this show. He's a superstar. But I'm gonna, since this is, I'm with you and you're my pastor. I'm gonna have to say the superstar I remember is Jamie, his wife. Yes.
She was a volleyball player.
Volleyball, very good team.
Yeah,
very good lifter.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, no. Now Justin, though, he came from the circus family.
He did.
Do you feel like, from watching from a coach perspective, did his circus instincts translate well onto the football field?
He was definitely an entertainer.
He was an entertainer.
Yeah.
I like it.
No doubt, a performer.
That doesn't surprise me. Well, the show choir, too.
Yes.
So did he have to miss a lot of the football commitments because of his commitments to the show choir?
No, I do think the traveling with the circus, if I remember the grumblings, because coaches, and I was not the head coach. I was just an innocent bystander trying to make a paycheck. So,
Okay. Well, welcome to the team and the Riff team. So let's go way back. Let's start with, what was life growing up? Where were you born? Kind of give us the early years of Coach Phil, Coach Wickwar. What did that look like?
Okay, 5 minutes. I'm going to try to rush this, okay? Born in Western Kansas. My family's from Western Kansas.
Okay.
Mom and Dad still married. They're over at Independent Living Care in Nixa.
Really?
89 and 87.
Wow.
Yes.
That was probably an age where they married young, too.
Yes. I was the fourth child
of
four.
Okay.
Four.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You're the
yes.
baby.
And I was the youngest. And I have three older sisters, which is a little scarred. That scarred me, I think, with my relationship with all women. Okay. Two of them. I kind of had three moms and a sister growing up.
That's about right.
Yeah. And it was a wonderful thing to grow up. Dad went and hit the roads. He was a traveling salesman, and he was an authoritative figure, and he was a disciplinarian. We always felt loved, and Mom was at home, and what a good time we had with Mom. So,
okay, now some people who are listening, they just got a whole culture study on American history, because there used to be a day where Amazon didn't exist. People would go to the door, and people actually answered their door.
Yes.
And they were excited if you were selling something sometimes. What did he sell? Anything memorable to you?
Well, we had our milk delivered to our house.
Like what, a cow in the back?
No. It was in bottles, but it was still very convenient. And my older sisters, when they got into high school, took me around. My mom was kind of an introvert,
Was it still godly. Kansas for you, high school?
I'm sorry. We moved to Springfield, Missouri when I was 4 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. I went through Horseman Elementary, Cherokee Junior High, Kickapoo High School.
Wow.
So, homegrown.
Okay. Homegrown. So what was high school feel like? Were you involved in sports?
Developed extremely late.
Okay.
5'5", 150 scrapping pounds as a sophomore,
Wow.
and graduated about 6'3", 225, went to play college football. And so I remember laying in bed that sophomore to junior year and just, aching, the body just hurting. But what I thought was a curse is such a blessing, because I had a coach, Kevin Byrne, who is a mentor to me, and just the process of grinding to be significant.
Wow.
Because I wasn't, and in 36 years of coaching, I almost see it as a curse of the very gifted.
Okay.
Because they don't learn the process. So when
they can skate by on talent.
And it catches you eventually.
Okay.
And so when finally my 2 scoops of talent came in and maturity, I'd learned the process.
Wow.
And it panned out really well for me. So
now, what positions did you play in high school?
I played offensive line and defensive line. I was extremely average in high school.
I love that description. I've never seen that on the back of a football card.
No, I was. Except for my father. He'd be up in the stands weeping, thinking I was incredible. That's the kind
That's awesome.
That's the support I had. He went to University of Colorado on football and wrestling scholarship.
He did.
And then quit to farm. It was a different time.
Okay.
1950s. And but when I went to college,
And where did you go?
I went to Wayne State. It's a Division II school up north, kind of by Sioux City, Iowa.
Yeah.
Really the only place that was interested in me. And just a great fit. And that, for the athletes, if any athletes, listening, this recruiting process is crazy. It's just, God's timing and fit is perfect, And I had an incredible college experience,
Really?
Started for 4 years, which was important for me because of the lack of activity I had in high school, waiting for puberty to hit. And, got confidence and built the relationships. And that's where I fell in love with the process of football and what it could do for you.
Yeah. And did you play on the line
I did. I played 3 years at guard. And then, long story short, but mostly significantly just spiritually, like football skyrocketed. Social skyrocketed in my mind. Academics, basement. And I'd also lost really my my core values that were instilled by me and my family. So you can change anywhere, but I transferred back to Evangel.
Really?
And played for a year. Played 2 semesters and played defensive end for Evangel.
Okay.
So, great place.
Well, so let's go back a little bit. Faith growing up, what did that look like in your home?
Everything was black and white. I think that was a representative of the 50s. Really respect that. We didn't talk about gray much. Got nervous when certain commercials came on TV. It was just black and white. And there's some good to that and there's some bad to that. The churches I went to, you had me laughing 2 weeks ago with, I think I got saved 15, 20 times. I was scared. I was scared.
Yeah. I grew up in one of those.
Swimming. I was in the swim club,
Mixed bathing?
No, just the baptism waters,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Jumped in there a few times, gotcha. But, just completely understanding. And Evangel was such a nice season of I was a little older.
Okay.
And just understood the relationship a little better than just buying fire insurance. Although I think I was very sincere at 16, when I got saved. But
so what was it like going from Wayne State, living away from your parents and flourishing in your social confidence, to then coming back to a Christian university? Did that experience shape you?
Well, I think with the Christian university, and I've got Chuck Heppel over there is running an incredible program, and we have 4 or 5 of our old athletes over there doing fantastic things. But what I found the same people that I left Wayne State. They found me, they identified, and 2-3 weeks in it, we were running strong just like always.
Yeah.
But the difference was when God started working on me, there was support and there were other people to connect with.
Yeah.
And I just didn't find it up at Wayne State. I'm not saying they weren't there.
Right.
I just didn't find it.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Now, did you graduate with an education degree, or what did that look like?
Yeah, I have an education degree, phys ed, history, which I've never used, and I've kept very quiet over the years. And then I have a master's degree. When I ended up coaching down in Texas, and I went to Tarleton State.
Yeah,
and that was an interesting thing. It's in exercise physiology. I fell in love because of my slow start and what the weight room did to me. Is the only thing in my life at the time that I felt like I got exactly back what I put into it.
Wow.
I hadn't found relationships to be that way. I hadn't found education I tried hard in English. It didn't pay me back very well, But that weight room, when I spent the time, things happen, small increments. And I fell in love with that. That built my confidence. And then you build your social area around that and stuff. So, we don't have time, but I saw some remarkable things at Tarleton State in the Masters. We worked with some bull riders that had neck injuries, that were paraplegics. And you never think about it, but they have to condition their heart, right? They need cardiovascular.
Yeah.
And I was part of this lab. We'd set them on recumbent bikes.
Yeah.
And they would use their involuntary muscle contractions to exercise.
Wow.
It was amazing. And then, they might have like 8 revolutions in 20 minutes. And you're like, oh, way to go, Joey. And you take him back out. Then you had to match the work joules that it took him to rotate 8 times. And I've never hurt so bad in all my life. So it was very, perspective thing. And, kind of a foundation of growth. And that's, So it's good.
I love that idea. Hard to fake progress in a weight room.
Impossible. Absolutely impossible.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you went right into coaching out of college?
I did. Finished up. Was kind of. I came from Kickapoo. I didn't really fall in love with the teaching aspect for a long time.
Yeah.
But my coaches had made a huge impact on me.
Yeah.
So I went into coaching. I finished my degree at SBU. They paid me to coach. Met a guy. We opened a fitness center for a while. And then I had a chance. Then I got married, and she decided she wanted stuff like a paycheck and healthcare and things like that. So
one of those high maintenance women.
They want it all.
Yeah.
So we went. That's when I went to Kickapoo High School. Kevin Byrne, the guy who was my assistant and mentored me, he had gotten the head job and hired me. And then I got a phone call. I was living a few blocks from my folks, and got a phone call that said, "Hey, I'm at a junior college in Texas. We had worked. Me and a guy named Kurt Nichols worked together in SBU. Would you come work for me?" And I went. I was a workaholic at that time.
Okay.
I was going to find all my happiness in positions and what I established, and so that was a time. A lot of learning for me.
Yeah.
It was head coach there for 4 years.
Down in Texas.
Okay. Yeah. And then when we came back is when I landed at Willard.
Wow.
So Justin found a very non-motivated burnout. My dream was over because my dream was to coach college football. Was my dream.
So what was that experience like? So you said you were there 4 years. At the end of it,
I was actually there 6.
6. Okay.
But head coach for 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was something you looked forward to. Did it go the way you thought it would? What did it feel like on the inside? How did that end up 6 years later? You feeling like, ugh?
Workaholic, didn't have my priorities down.
Yeah.
I don't know, probably had a Bible on my desk, would read a scripture to the team every now and then, but, I wasn't growing. I had people invest in me. So that was a positive. The cultural thing, we ran a organization. Football was not very important to Ranger College. Okay, football was important to me, and it was a very small West Texas town, and we had 13 scholarships, and we were playing in a fantastic league that averaged 35 scholarships.
Okay.
So in our facilities, I'm going to be kind. They were like, actually, half of our dorms was government housing they had abandoned.
Wow.
So you had to want to be there.
Yeah.
And so now the positives, there's always positives. I worked with some incredible guys. Don't have time to tell you. Some guys that have been just huge in the business. I worked with a lot of different, I'm from Kickapoo, right?
Yeah.
So 97, 98% of my athletes were inner city kids, different culture, different, I was taught, and I say this respectfully, but I was taught that, when the police officer over there at Kickapoo High School pulls me over because my blinker's out, total safety in the system.
Yeah. Different perspective.
Yeah. And it's a survival perspective.
Yeah.
And so it was just a great learning experience. I learned more from my athletes, I'm sure, than they learned from me. But God is so good, there's connection there.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you went up to Willard, and you were there for a few years?
10
years?
Yeah.
Okay. And then down to Nixa?
I was actually, there was one, I was the head coach at Willard, and I'd gone through a divorce.
Okay.
And my son, we had landed back in Nixa, and my son had played through a freshman game. I could do my job and still see his activities.
Okay.
And by the time he became a sophomore, there was going to be conflict.
Yeah.
And as I told you, my dream was to be, the next Saban. It wasn't going to happen. So I thought, this isn't really my dream. So I resigned. Dr. Medlin was fantastic to me over there. And they said, hey, we need to ship you out of the building, which kind of offended me, because I thought, wait a second, I'm resigning. I had a great relationship. Jeff Staley, the AD. I'm like, this is not a conflict thing. And they said, no. But the new guy needs you out in case people, because I had a good rapport with parents and this and that. And it was a lot of wisdom they gave me.
Yeah.
So, but unfortunately, they pushed me down to a friend who was opening an elementary school. So I was an elementary PE coach for a year. It was terrible.
Same intensity as Ranger?
It was. Those children are still under counseling. There's no doubt. We lined up. There are a lot of football drills happened in that class. So it was, that's a learning experience. But then got a chance to go to Nixa.
Wow.
So that was awesome.
So do you have a favorite season or a favorite era as it relates to coaching when you look back at your career?
Oh, without a doubt. Blessed to work with phenomenal guys. But the last 4 years, what's happening at Nixa High School was it.
Yeah.
John Perry came in.
Yeah.
And I wasn't for sure I was even going to work for him because coaching's a lot of time.
Yeah.
And we hit it off, and he's got such a professional collegiate system going.
Yeah.
And it also is completely 100% focused on growing character of young men.
Yeah.
So I was in heaven,
Yeah.
And so that's been my favorite time.
And you were part of opening up the new facility?
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So
a lot of support down there.
Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about family. So what's family like? Any highlights as you look back on the family journey?
Okay, so I'm currently in a blended family,
okay,
which is wonderful. I have stepson Nate, stepdaughter Abigail, who I'll get in trouble for labeling them step. I'm just trying to organize it for people. I've got a son Colby, daughter-in-law Becca, and Calvin, and Sutton. I wrote it down because my memory is really bad.
Yeah.
So, but those are my grandkids, and
okay,
we'll be in Destin together second week of my wife. She was married very young. She'd been married 20 years.
Okay.
They were really involved. His complete side. They were really involved in Hamlin. The Dream Center.
Yeah, where the Dream Center
That's
is.
where she grew up. She's north side. She's
Really?
pretty tough. She's a pretty tough girl. Yeah. Kind of scared me when I first met her. But, and then, I was my stepson's worst nightmare because he was on my football team.
Oh. Yeah.
And I was going through a divorce and, it is what it is. You know, he was off in college. But that was, Mother's Day, excuse me, Mother's Day was absolutely fantastic.
Really? What'd that look like?
We got back from church. Cannot tell a lie. We watched it online. Colby went to church. We all ended up at our house. It's about food and barbecuing, and then it's about watching the grandkids, dance to whatever Siri pulls up or whatever.
That's awesome.
It is good. It's a good season.
Yeah,
it's a good season.
So, how did North Point come into play for you?
Oh wow! Went off to college. Came back. We were at Second Baptist on Oak Grove.
Yeah.
A long time. But it's at Oak Grove, probably 1,000 people. And when I left, my folks became empty nesters, and you start noticing changes like, mom and dad are acting different,
Yeah.
And so got up on Sunday to go to church because that was not an option in our house. And we drove out to Republic Road, and there's 45 people in a white house, and a bluegrass band got up. And I thought, my folks have joined a cult. I did not know what was going on. And it was Hosey and Debbie Ballou.
Yeah.
And it was Ridgecrest Baptist.
Yeah.
And they've been a part of my life until when Hosey resigned and all our kids were gone and this and that. I was a deacon over there until my divorce.
Really?
Taught Sunday school class with Debbie a couple times and on. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Huge spiritual mentor to me. But, he resigned and moved on, and we were going, but we weren't plugged in. Yeah. So we went on this 2-year journey of, let's find a church, which
it's tough around here. There's a lot of options.
There's a lot of options. I just feel so critical. They're all serving people, and you're just kind of like, I don't know. It's just not a great time. So it's people. And John Spence, lifetime friend, was going to North Point, and you guys were over in the little mall.
Oh, yeah.
And Kevin Chipley, I was coaching with. And so I kept after my wife. I said, let's go here. And we went, and we fell in love with it. And probably in the first 6 months, we went to your New Testament class.
Yeah.
Over at North Point.
Yeah.
Which if for people that get that chance, it's such a different view of you.
Yeah.
I get it. I thoroughly enjoy 1983 class clown kick through high school. So I completely enjoy your humor.
Yeah.
But the knowledge and the perspective you gave during that class was absolutely fantastic. So that was really good.
Leanne wrote all the notes. I just read them.
Well,
that's kind of how it
you
works.
read it well because there was a bunch of them. So that was a good point. And then just meeting Donnie coming over to practice every day.
Yeah, bringing Gatorade.
Gatorade, and I'm like, just the whole mission of being safe and then arrows out.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Wow.
To me, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's talk about the health journey.
Yeah.
It's interesting is you spent all of your career focusing on the beauty of strength and what strength can do for a body.
Yeah.
And then you have your own health journey. Walk us through, what did that look like? What happened?
Yeah. When John Perry came in, he started talking about mental wellness, mental growth.
Okay.
And nobody had ever challenged me with that before. And what grabbed me was it was completely parallel with I have 2 national certifications in a grad degree, and nobody cares, and I don't care. But I spent all my life studying this progression of strength. And it's amazing how it parallels spiritual and mental growth.
Yeah.
I mean, they apply to everything. So, I was into that. Good season in my life. Had the next 8 years planned, And July 14th was at football. Head coach was down doing something else. I was being naughty. And so I was sitting at my computer, and because I was way behind, I was working on some playbook stuff. It was all football.
Yeah.
Summertime, all the other coaches were out working their tail off, and I had a nagging headache. It was nagging. And finally, all of a sudden, I got so dizzy, I knew I couldn't stand up. And there's this poor child walking through the locker room, and at that time, and I said, I need help. I think scared him half to death, But they ran in. Long story short, I was having a stroke.
Oh, wow.
And mine is a blockage in the rear, which I think God has humor, because the right side is your strength, and that's probably where the back of the head is the spinal fluid. So in my recovery, I had a tube out the top of my head for several weeks. And then it's memory, which was terrible to begin with. And I'll have to write everything down.
Yeah.
It was vision.
Wow.
Balance.
Yeah.
Which an Adirondack chair at our house will tell you, as of 2 weeks ago, I missed a step on the ladder and went through it. It was plastic. And, there's still some challenges there. Yeah. But the recovery was great. So I went... I had the stroke. They can put you on this medicine.
So were you in the hospital right away for extended period of time?
And I will brag on them. I was in the emergency room. They checked you out a couple things. I was vomiting. I was dizzy. They wheeled me out to the waiting room. I thought, good night.
No way. What do you got to do to get in there?
That's what I'm saying. And at that time, the only time it was scary to me is my throat was closing.
Okay.
And I couldn't swallow. And so I was pushing saliva out my mouth. And I realized of people in that condition in their life that I've never understood what they went through. That's their daily.
Wow.
And, it's just such a perspective journey.
Yeah.
And so at that time, you're a rock star. They go to work on you. And so I guess in God's so good, like the next 3 days, 4 days, I don't have a lot of memory. Was able to talk to my family members a couple months ago, filled me in on some stuff,
Okay.
But it was pretty serious.
Did you ever think during that time, man, this might be it?
I don't think you think during that time this might be it, because you completely focus on surviving.
Yeah.
For the moment. My family members definitely.
Yeah.
And so the next morning, which is, I have no recollection of it, I eat breakfast and I sleep. And that is not an alarm at the Wickwar house, okay, for me to eat and then take a little nappy poo. Well, for the nurses, it was big. And what I was doing was I was going to a coma or passing away.
Okay.
And I was non-responsive. Lady named Stella, 40-some years nursing, been in Iraq. And there's a protocol, and she skipped them. She goes, we're going to the operating room. Lays over me, prays. They take me, remove a chunk out of my head, my brain's gone. And next couple of days, I've got the breathing tube, I'm strapped down. I don't remember. So when I do start coming to, and one time, and I knew I had to behave. I'm kind of claustrophobic. So I woke up and I had stuff everywhere in this tube. And I just start pulling stuff out.
Yeah.
And IVs and stuff. And so I was in restraints. And it was the response of that on my wife that I went, okay, I've got to figure out how to be a good patient.
Yeah.
So from then on, and from then on, every day was a step to health.
Really?
Yeah. And I had an army praying for me.
Yeah.
Just an army. So that was interesting for humorous, because one of the things I learned was God's enough. And that's really a good place to visit. I don't want to stay there. And some people have to.
But if he's all you have.
He's all you have. I was stripped of everything. He's enough.
I was going to ask, how did that impact your faith?
Huge.
In a good way.
In a positive way. I mean, what's exercise do for you? It makes you better. We don't like exercising. Yeah. We don't, but then, so that was the first lesson. He's enough. And that's made me dangerous from then on out. So the second lesson was, there I am and my family's there, and whatever. And my daily routine was I'd walk in. It was like an Indy pit stop, okay? They'd get me out. Standing up was the big, I'd stand up. My gown would fall down. Wear nothing but a smile, a bunch of wires, a tube out my head. They bring a porta potty around. It's just body fluids. You sat down, you relaxed, you stood back up. They had foam that they obviously kept in the refrigerator, okay? And they'd wipe you down like a Chevy. And then you were so unable. You'd sit back on your bed, and the bed had a conveyor belt that moved you back up.
Wow.
And that was norm. That was my day. And so day 4, come in, and the nurses were incredible. The people, what a calling. But so I have this one lady, and I had some Nixa thing on, and she's from Ozark. Uh-oh. And she was right what I needed. She was saucy, And so she'd come in, and we'd start bantering, and I needed that.
Yes.
I didn't need to be caught. I was coddled.
Yeah.
But so day 5, right? We get up, we do our little routine. I'm pretty good at it now, And my stepdaughter is scarred for life, She leaves the room, okay? So I'm sitting there, and during this wipe down, this lady, and I am so modest. My wife is beyond modest. And this lady goes, does he not have some shorts? And it finally dawned on us, this isn't normal. So
they still talk about you over there, the streaker.
So we're like, oh yeah, it make you feel so stupid. But what God, as I laid there and contemplated, God told me this, in a feeling, in a thought. What in her life do we just accept as normal? Because nobody out of love, I'm not for sure hers was out of love or just self-preservation, but nobody out of love just says, hey, that's not normal.
Yeah.
And so that was the second big thing. And then the third big thing, and then I really don't have an agenda, but it was just so powerful. The third big thing is I'm laying there, the team's going to go on without me. 36, I played for 48 years I've been part of a team. Family's there, my faith's there, God's enough. Not feeling real strong, can't walk, And so God said, well, you can be positive to people, in which I've always enjoyed investing. Yeah. And one of the things I learned about myself is I was really good at being encouraging to people that I thought, I hate to say lesser, but I saw something about them that I thought, well, that's not very good. I'll invest in that.
Okay.
And that's really helped me connect with a lot of students and this and that, and build relationships. But I think what I missed opportunity is people that I visually assumed they've got it all going on. I didn't look for encouragement. Yeah. So I had this neurology guy walk in, sharp, fit, had hair. I'm like, good night. 40s. I'm like, you got it all, I did.
Yeah.
His little whisper goes, encouraging. I'm like, what am I going to say? And so I said, hey, I made it quick. I said, you're obviously smart.
Yeah.
You guys have been awesome. I just want you to know, because he was very positive. I said, your bedside manner is what is appreciated from down here. You know, keep it up. 25 minutes later, still talking to me. Just found out he had a brain tumor. His 4 kids, hadn't even told his wife yet. I said, I needed this. And so that really opened my thought process was, quit qualifying people. You know, everybody's battling, something. So, anyway, yeah.
What a journey. And
it was quite a journey.
And it sounds obvious that there was no wasted time in there. God was using you even when you were, some people would say you were on the shelf for a little bit. But
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
You were still being uniquely used.
That's, you kind of think, I think of the garden a lot, because I'm an extrovert. I like conversation. I like gatherings. Mm-hmm. And all my life, and I've really enjoyed Christian gatherings and people, and I still do. I'll go to a men's group tonight. I was at Greg Myers yesterday morning. But what I was missing for so many years of my life is going into the inner garden and just me and him. And that's what I was missing. And he says, minister to 1,000, chill with 12, find 3 you got.
Yeah.
And I'm so overblessed. If friendships and quality people were money, I'd have drove up in a Lamborghini, because I've got it. I mean, he just completely blessed me. So, and I just think it's a conduit. You use the bucket. By the way, I have to say this because she's going to be really mad. So
let's do it.
My wife's OCD.
Okay.
And it's the first time I've gone to church and we will discuss you all the way home in a very positive way. It's such a blessing.
As long as it's 80%, I'm cool with it.
It's just such a blessing to be connected and just laughs, thinks you're so funny and, does not laugh at me. That causes a little problem. But when you did the seeds on the stage, she's OCD.
Oh.
She was not your fan because she was not figuring out how they're going to get that cleaned up. I'm like, it's okay. They've got teams. So not everything hits,
well, I'll tell you what is, one, you overestimate our teams. We don't have a facilities team. Okay. But my wife's OCD and my daughter is, and my daughter was getting married on that stage that week. And so your wife was not alone in her frustration, but so my wife handed me a broom and said, get to work.
Every time you went back there, I heard you groan. But I'm a visual learner, so I love all your visual, and the pouring the water into bucket and where I'm at is I just feel like we're conduits.
Yeah.
And there's holes in the conduit. And I think we have to intentionally seek his blessing. And he's just waiting to pour it into us.
Yeah.
But the reason he pours it into it is not so I fill up.
Yeah.
I get blessings out of it, but it's so I can transfer it.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I love that. Scripture says to be filled with the Spirit. And one of, I think, the best interpretation, the most fair interpretation is to continually be being filled with the Holy Spirit. It's not a Thursday at a summer camp. It is I need to figure out how to continually be being filled because I leak and there's people who need this flow.
Yes.
Let's land on this is when it comes to your faith journey. Now, you've been following Jesus in so many different seasons. How has your knowledge of strength and training, your coaching, are there any handles from that translate real well to your spiritual strength?
Well, I think you guys have killed it with the concept of next step.
Yeah.
I heard this just this week. He loves us right where we're at, but he loves us too much to leave us there. and that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And if I want to imitate him, I have to, I want to 100% have a heart for everybody.
Yeah.
But with his help him encourage advanced, So it's the last thing is this, and I think people get overwhelmed. I've been overwhelmed. All I've got to do is win today. Today's enough.
Yeah.
And I was a goal person and it served me well,
Yeah.
But you might work 6 months and either evaluate yourself as a failure or a winner. And I got a lot of this from Mental Mindset, Coach Perry, and it's all I'm responsible for today. I think you said to control the controllables, and then have faith. There's always got to be that faith piece.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome. And the 2 prayers I have when I wake up, help me. I need you. It's a humility. I need you. And then the second is, whether I know it or not, let me be a blessing to somebody.
Yeah.
And I kind of like not knowing it because then I think you get that blessing upstairs.
Yeah.
But you know it during the day because it's how we encourage each other.
Yeah.
So, but I think maybe, that was a step in coaching as I left coaching. And I really pray for you. I pray for all leaders because you're doing amazing things. But I wonder if people know how challenging you not being full of Jeremy is. Because, I'm a pretty humble guy. I told you my beginnings. But I got told a lot. Thank you. It feels very good. More than I do now listening to podcasts driving around on a lawnmower. Nobody's really, I can go to Walmart now and not, be noticed. So, I think that's the battle is just, win the day. Yeah. I need you. And let me bless somebody today.
Wow. Well, if you're listening today and you feel like you're in a fight, I hope you're encouraged by this, that focus on today, invite God in there, let him fill you. And then he's filling you for a purpose. So look alive, and Coach, thank you so much for being with us today, sharing your journey, your faith, your career, your health. For me, as I listen to this, it's been personally encouraging.
Awesome.
I love who you are. I love the fact that you've loved God for a long time in different seasons, and you were saying some things. I mean, I would encourage you, go back and listen to this again, the theology that's coming out of your mouth of living for God in tough times and in good times. It's consistent, and that's a healthy theology, and I'm just so thankful to hear that, to watch it, and to be a part of that. So thank you.
Appreciate it. It's been an honor.
All right, welcome to the Riff. Let's do it again sometime.
We'll do it.
All right.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Riff. We'll have a brand new episode every week, wherever you find podcasts.